For 70 years, we were told the Dead Sea Scrolls had revealed their secrets, that everything important had already been discovered. But artificial intelligence has cracked them open again, and the results are shocking. Hidden words, erased prophecies, even alternate versions of the Bible itself. Were these messages preserved to guide us, or buried to silence them? Imagine holding a scroll written long before the Roman Empire reached its peak. It's fragile, darkened with age, its letters barely clinging to life. For decades, experts struggled to understand these fragments. But now, machines, unblinking, tireless, impossibly sharp, are exposing details no human ever could. And what they're revealing could rewrite everything we thought we knew about religion, prophecy, and power. It all began in 1947. A Bedouin shepherd, searching for a stray goat in the cliffs near the Dead Sea, threw a stone into a cave. Instead of silence, he heard the crash of pottery breaking. Inside, he found jars containing rolled-up parchments wrapped in linen. At first, no one knew what they were. Some were hidden under beds, others sold on the black market. One collection even ended up in an American newspaper ad in 1954, biblical manuscripts dating back to at least 200 BC for sale. Imagine scrolling through the classifieds and seeing a piece of history that would later be priceless. Archaeologists soon realized the importance. Between 1947 and 1956, 11 caves were opened in the area of Qumran. Together, they yielded more than 900 manuscripts, biblical texts, prayers, community rules, and apocalyptic writings. It should have been a triumph of archaeology. Instead, it became a lightning rod for secrecy, controversy, and conspiracy. Here's where the story gets strange. After their discovery, the scrolls didn't go straight to the public. Instead, they were controlled by a small group of scholars, mostly European, mostly Christian. For decades, they held exclusive access. Photographs, translations, even fragments themselves were locked away. This fueled endless rumors. Why would scholars guard them so tightly? Why did it take until the 1990s for many of the texts to finally be published? Some whispered the Vatican was behind it, suppressing scrolls that contradicted church teachings. Others thought governments stepped in, fearing religious unrest if the scrolls challenged sacred narratives. The result? For almost 50 years, the scrolls became less a discovery and more a mystery. The public was left with rumors of rival messiahs, strange prophecies, and hidden books of the Bible. Even respected academics admitted the secrecy damaged trust and fueled conspiracy theories that thrive even now. So why all the fuss? Because the Dead Sea Scrolls are the oldest surviving biblical texts ever found. Before their discovery, the earliest known copies of the Hebrew Bible dated to around the 9th century AD. The scrolls pushed that back a full 1,000 years, to around 200 BC. But the scrolls didn't just preserve familiar texts. They revealed alternate versions, different wordings, added lines, missing passages. Imagine opening a Bible and finding your version of Genesis didn't quite match mine. Suddenly, the idea that Scripture was unchanging looked very shaky. And beyond that, there were texts no one had ever seen. Hymns, rules for a secretive sect, writings about angels, demons, and cosmic battles, and repeated mentions of a mysterious teacher of righteousness, a leader who clashed with corrupt rulers and preached a new covenant. Who was he? A rebel priest? An early messiah? Or someone deliberately erased from history? But here's the catch. The scrolls were damaged almost beyond recognition. Burned, shredded, eaten by insects, reduced to scraps the size of a fingernail. Piecing them together was like trying to rebuild a shredded library from confetti. For decades, scholars worked slowly, using magnifying glasses, microscopes, and endless debates. But human eyes could only see so much. Entire fragments sat in boxes unreadable for half a century. And that's when AI changed the game. Artificial intelligence doesn't read the way we do. It doesn't get tired or biased. It scans patterns, analyzes strokes, and sees details invisible to us. When researchers fed thousands of high-resolution scans of the scrolls into AI systems, the results were groundbreaking. First, AI proved that scrolls once thought to be written by one hand were actually written by multiple scribes. How? By analyzing tiny details in handwriting, the flick of a pen, the angle of a stroke, pressure points invisible to humans. This showed that the scrolls weren't just the work of an isolated sect. They reflected networks of scribes, maybe even multiple communities. Then came the bombshell. AI detected faint ink marks on fragments believed to be blank. Under the algorithm's gaze, ghostly words appeared, hidden messages no one had seen in 2,000 years. Some fragments revealed alternate versions of biblical texts. Others contained unique writings, hymns, prayers, laws, and a few hinted at prophecies. Among the most intriguing discoveries were texts describing a cosmic war, the sons of light versus the sons of darkness. Others spoke of a coming teacher, a messianic figure who would arise at the end of days. Scholars still argue over who this teacher was. Some think he was a rebel priest who defied Jerusalem's temple authorities. Others suggest he might have been an early prototype of Jesus, or even a rival figure whose memory was erased. If true, that means the Dead Sea Scrolls don't just preserve scripture, they preserve the outlines of forgotten messianic movements. Movements that competed for power. Movements that lost. And history, as we know, is written by the winners. Here's where conspiracy theories explode. Why were these scrolls hidden in caves? Were they sacred, hidden from enemies? Or were they dangerous, banned texts buried to silence them? And why were so many scrolls kept from the public for decades? Was it just slow scholarship, or was there deliberate censorship? Some believe the scrolls contain prophecies of future empires, even predictions of wars and catastrophes. Others argue they show how early Christianity was just one of many competing sects, and that knowledge threatened powerful institutions. Now that AI is pulling new words out of the dust, the question returns: will all the discoveries be shared this time? Or will some quietly vanish into archives just as before? Visit Qumran today, and the desert itself feels like part of the mystery. The Dead Sea glimmers in the distance, the lowest place on Earth, so salty nothing can live in it. The cliffs are harsh, pockmarked with caves like eyes staring out at you. Tour guides take you through the ruins of the settlement, ritual baths carved in stone, dining halls, scribal rooms, where pens once scratched on parchment by candlelight. Then you look up at Cave 4, the most famous of them all. From the outside, it's just a hole in the rock. But inside, it once held hundreds of manuscripts. It makes you wonder, how many caves are still sealed? How many more secrets remain buried in the desert, waiting for the right eyes or the right algorithms to find them? What makes this story even wilder is that AI isn't just cracking the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's also decoding other ancient mysteries. Algorithms have helped read Greek texts charred in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. They've reconstructed Mayan glyphs once thought undecipherable. They've even restored Egyptian papyri crumbled into dust. The Dead Sea Scrolls are just the beginning. If machines can uncover words erased for 2,000 years, what else might they reveal? Entire lost books? Hidden histories? Knowledge we never imagined? The Dead Sea Scrolls remind us that history is not a finished story. It's a draft with missing pages, edits, and maybe censorship. AI is giving us a glimpse of what was left out. The scrolls prove that scripture was fluid, shifting, debated. They show us forgotten leaders, rival messiahs, alternate prophecies. And they raise a question we can't ignore. How much of history is the version we were allowed to know, and how much remains buried, waiting to be rediscovered? From a shepherd's stone in 1947 to secretive scholars guarding fragments, to AI pulling ghostly words from dust, the Dead Sea Scrolls have never stopped being mysterious. And now, thanks to technology, they're speaking louder than ever. They whisper of forgotten prophecies. They reveal alternate stories. They remind us that truth is fragile and sometimes hidden on purpose. And the real mystery? We may have only scratched the surface. Subscribe for more secrets history tried to bury.